Standing over the body of Robert Pattinson with bloody stakes in their hands, it's the IGN Digigods. Please welcome two men apologizing to Robert Pattinson for threatening him in a pre-recorded podcast intro. Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
Our listeners just keep coming up with better and better intros for us. It's really encouraging. Bob, to whom do we owe that?
Nicholas Gordon. Thank you, Nick.
Absolutely.
Keep it coming.
Yeah, Nicholas Gordon has sent us quite a few of those.
Yeah, and you know what? And we're using quite a few of them.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. What's going on in the wonderful digital world of movie distribution, Mark?
Movie distribution?
Or home theater distribution of Blu-ray and DVD-age. Whatever happened to that HD DVD thing?
Yeah, you know what? I keep buying them, and they keep getting cheaper and cheaper. I wonder what's happening with that. Because they're really cheap, and I'm really looking forward to enjoying it for years to come because they're so cheap. They're so much cheaper than Blu-ray.
I'm just curious. If any of our listeners out there, if you assembled a massive HD DVD library and then just spit fire and cursed up a storm on the day when they announced they were discontinuing it in favor of Blu-ray, email us at gods@digigods.com and tell us what you're doing with your collection. I'm curious because there are just a ton of HD DVDs out there on eBay and elsewhere, and they're all for sale for like 10 cents.
Yeah, and you know what? And frankly, if it wasn't for 3D TV, which of course no one's looking forward to, but if it wasn't for 3D TV, I would consider Blu-ray dead. But I think 3D TV is going to save Blu-ray.
I don't think anybody cares about 3D TV.
I'm not doubting that, but obviously it'll make the studios care about Blu-ray.
Yeah, I guess.
A little bit longer.
Perhaps.
But The Expendables is coming out on November 23rd.
Yay. You know what else is coming out? A-Team. We had listeners write us about A-Team not being slated, and now it's coming out in December. So
Dud.
That was a quick turnaround.
You know why? Dud.
Yeah, maybe. But when's The Expendables coming out?
November 23rd.
See, Expendables came out after the A-Team in theaters, comes out before the A-Team on Blu-ray.
Yeah, you know what that means? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Means
I don't know
nothing.
either. You know what I like? I like Pocket Blue, and I like BD Live. No, not really.
How many times on this show have we talked about BD Live and how much we hate it?
Pocket Blue, even worse.
You know what? I've decided I don't even know what Pocket Blue is.
Yeah, you shouldn't. No reason to. We need to talk about DVDs. And, of course, we are going to be announcing the winners of last week's giveaway, the Alien Legacy Blu-ray set, giving away 3 of those, courtesy of the amazing, wonderful people at Fox.
Well, those guys really stepped up to the plate.
They really did. That was the biggest giveaway we've ever given, and had the most enormous response. Unbelievable. I'm still blown away how many people emailed us on that.
My inbox is completely filled.
It's
with people who with subject line, like literally, I'll check my email.
Yeah.
There'll be 35 emails with the subject line alien.
I know. It's been going on for days. It's amazing.
But we have winners to announce, Wade.
Yes, we do. We'll do that later in the show.
What?
Not right away. Not right away. So, you know what? Right at the top, is there any news at all other than the Expendables and A-Team?
No.
That's sad news.
Well, look, it's getting to be the holiday season.
Okay.
What is that?
A few interesting Blu-rays, just Blu-ray nature documentary stuff, worth mentioning for the holidays. Right?
Once again, Wade starts the show with stuff no one cares about.
We're easing into it.
We got Toy Story 3 to talk about.
Yeah, we got a couple of big Harry Potters and things too. I know we got the Metropolis. The Metropolis is out from Kino. We got a lot of good stuff, really, really good stuff. But I'm going to start by talking about some little Blu-ray nature things that are really good to get because it shows off Blu-ray very nicely. The photography is lovely, and it's worth it. It's just like a family thing. It's a good thing to have in the family library. Kids will love it. A couple of them from Disney Nature: Crimson Wing, Mystery of the Flamingos. Mark, you love flamingos.
I love the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas.
No,
good
well,
buffet.
Maybe you don't. Actually, a friend of ours, our friend William, he has a friend who shut down the buffet at the Las Vegas Hilton. Did you know that?
Please tell.
No, he ate, like he went in, and this guy's name was, they called him Schnurp. His name was Gary Schneer. If Gary Schneer is listening, my apologies for sharing a story that you probably don't want told, but this guy had won like 7 consecutive Shakey's pizza eating contests. And he's not like fat. He's just a big guy, a huge frame, right? Like a massive cavernous body that you can dump a ton of food into. And he went to the Las Vegas Hilton buffet, which says all you can eat. And he literally ate. They went somewhere close to like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, something like that. And he literally ate all the food they had left. And he shut it down and got his money back because he did not eat all he could eat.
Wait, how could you, that is so Homer Simpson of him.
I know.
How could you shut down a buffet? They're open 24 hours. They have all the food in the world.
He shut it down. He ate everything that they had out.
I envy him.
Yeah, and he got his money back because he did not eat all he could eat. And that was the promise.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Amazing. Isn't it fabulous? Anyway.
And where is he now?
Have
you not Facebooked him?
He's eating somewhere, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Anyway, Disney Nature, The Crimson Wing, Mystery of the Flamingos. This is Blu-ray and DVD in one set. And I think flamingos are unbelievably cool birds. Not the ones the plastic ones that people have sitting in their front yards, but real flamingos, actual honest-to-goodness flamingos. This is a kind of a standard nature documentary in many respects, but it's just so absolutely beautifully photographed. And flamingos are just such cool-looking birds. And definitely check this out. It is a wonderfully produced high-def disc. And we also have from Disney Nature Oceans, which is also Blu-ray and DVD in one package. And this is straight-up Jacques Cousteau type stuff. This is just wonderful, beautiful underwater photography, and then, of course, photography of other things pertaining to the oceans. Anything that has anything to do with the ocean, above, underneath, in and around, is photographed in this. They're not comprehensive. These aren't, you're not going to become a microbiologist or some kind of a zoological expert watching these things, but they're really, really good to watch with the kids. Then from History Channel, we've got World War II 360. 20 episodes from this History Channel HD series, and a lot of unaired stuff on here as well. This is pretty slick, not necessarily for the younger kids, unless you want to really just immerse them in the middle of World War II in every conceivable way. But I'm a big fan of Patton, as anybody who's listened to this show for any period of time knows, and I think this is really super cool. So definitely check that out. And then we've got the complete first season of another History Channel series, How the Earth Was Made. This is absolutely a superbly well-produced series, and 13 episodes that just get into the most intense geological and geographical detail about the creation of the Earth. Pretty cool stuff, really nicely photographed. And then lastly, also from History Channel, is Earth and Space. This is a 6-disc set that includes the universe and how the Earth was made. So you get all of that in this one set if you want to go for the full-blown History Channel universe, nature, immersion session. But it's, all of this stuff is very, very well produced and shows off the Blu-ray format very, very nicely. Mark, shall we move on?
We should move on to stuff people care about, Wade.
Okay. What else do people care about?
Well, right there. Look at all that stuff you got.
We're going to talk about Harry Potter?
We are.
The Harry Potter Blu-ray sets, the ultimate editions on Blu-ray, are monstrous. They're almost too monstrous. I would dare say they are beautiful transfers. I'm not going to fault the transfers, but it is an indulgence that I don't know that everybody necessarily wants to get into. These sets, they are like cinder blocks when you pick them up. This is what we have being released this week is Year 3, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. And then Year 4, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Prisoner of Azkaban is not bad. I like Gary Oldman quite a lot. And the series, I'm really hit and miss with all of these movies. But they do have some really, really good extras. The problem that I have is that these sets are so... I wish they would come out with just the Blu-ray for people who really just want to watch the movie and don't have 18 weeks to watch the endless amounts of stuff that they add on here and go through all the additional stuff. I mean, you get, for example, these giant booklets on here. These... in the one it's the 48-page booklet, and the other one it's a 44-page booklet with photos, and you get these lenticular cards, and these are just huge collectible sets, and I wish they'd, maybe just kind of streamline them a little bit and do this stuff down the line when they come out with a gigantic every Harry Potter movie altogether. But I know they want to try and force everybody to double, triple, quadruple dip, but it's overkill. Well,
the thing, too, that's not fair is that if you look at Harry Potter, that's a series that appeals to kids, mainly, young adults. Mm-hmm. And so these things that cost, $40, $50, $60, you're asking them to spring for that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they're nice sets. Don't get me wrong; they're really, really nice, and they're really well transferred. And it's all just. But wow, I mean, it's if you watch all of the extras in these things, it gets numbing at a certain point. It's not like film school in a box, the Criterion concept. It really is like, here, watch every featurette that we could possibly cram onto here. The Lord of the Rings sets are almost getting into that too. It's a little tiresome at a certain point. The other big release this week is Toy Story 3. And Toy Story 3 is a terrific film. I think Toy Story 3 kind of got lost a little bit. This is a 2-disc Blu-ray and DVD combo set that I'm looking at right now. And I think it got lost a little bit in the summer because it was just as good as everyone expected.
Well, it still did amazingly well.
It did. It did phenomenally well. But we've kind of it sort of came and went, and it was like, yeah, of course it was great.
Well, also, look, don't forget too.
It didn't have to be great. We're fortunate that it was. There are lots of sequels that are awful, but the first two were so good. This one lived up to it.
Look, the thing made over $400 million.
Yeah.
Right. And
very quickly, though.
Very quickly. But you know what? Look, when between the time Toy Story 2 came out and Toy Story 3 came out, the environment of movie releasing changed.
True.
Toy Story with Toy Story 3 now you're really well into the era of weekend grosses. All that matters. Push it, and if you get second, third, fourth, fifth weekends, it's a bonus.
Yeah, true.
And it wasn't that much that way with Toy Story 2, and really now with Toy Story 1.
Well, you get a lot of really good extras here, and it's mostly behind-the-scenes stuff, the kind of stuff that you would expect, how they, how the movie was put together, how it was conceived. There's also a little thing here called the Toy Story Trivia Dash, which is a game it's okay. It could have been worse. But you're getting this for the movie, and again, all the Pixar stuff when it goes to Blu-ray is just beyond compare. It's just so flawlessly pristine and digital to digital. You can't say a single thing about it that's bad. This will make assuming you have a decent television, it'll make your television look 1,000 times better than it is.
Oh, these are gorgeous.
Yeah,
what? Look, I still have and I still enjoy the original Toy Story box, the toy box.
Do you really? You still have that?
It was
the original DVD.
It was the silver packaging.
Yeah, I remember that.
It came with an entire DVD of extras.
Wow!
And I still love that thing. That thing's great.
Very nice. Well, we have a 2-disc set here of Mad Max. The original Mad Max. I can't believe how long ago this movie was. I was a kid when Mad Max was released. Toe Cutter.
We've talked about this before.
I love Mad Max.
You make Mad Max, and then let's do a sequel. What should we do? Let's blow up the world.
It's awesome. So
let's
cool.
Let's just blow up the world.
Oh, it's so cool.
What a bizarre, great thing to do.
It was an awesome thing to do. Awesome thing to do. Anyway, the original Mad Max, which was basically an Australian exploitation film, a low-budget exploitation film. It made Mel Gibson a star. It made George Miller a named director. This is just a legendary film. This is on Blu-ray and DVD, and includes some very cool extras here. The commentary by on the Blu-ray by John Dowding, David Egby, Chris Murray, and Tim Ridge is quite informational. I wouldn't call it a great commentary, but it's certainly listenable. And then you also have a ton of featurettes and documentaries between the 2 discs here, most of which are adequate but not great. The one that really kind of stands out is Mel Gibson, The Birth of a Superstar, which is, let's just say, not. It doesn't go into the shadows like it probably should. You don't get any of those clippings or any snippets from the recent audio recordings that.
Oh no!
Yeah, you don't get any of the meltdown.
And by the way, since we're talking about Mad Max, Fury Road has been on and off and on and off, and now it's off again.
I know. It's just it's never going to get made.
It really isn't.
It's just I don't know what the problem is.
You know what? Even if it winds up being Mel showing up for 20 minutes and then he dies and he hands it off to somebody else, even that they'll move on. Or here's the thing, though. George Miller, it's not like this guy. It's not like Steven Spielberg, where if he doesn't do this movie, he's got another 16 on his plate that he can choose from. George Miller doesn't work that often. So it is possible that he really does have a Jones to do this movie, and he's willing to wait it out. You just don't know.
That's true.
But I would love
to.
I mean, who wouldn't love Fury Road? Seriously.
Look, I've been waiting for that movie for over 10 years. A movie that I'm not waiting for. I didn't wait for it in the theaters, and I'm not really. I could care less about the Blu-ray, but I'm going to talk about it. The Centurion, which was made by Neil Marshall, who everybody knows of as he's kind of a fanboy director whose movies are just endlessly bloody. He made The Descent, among many other unpleasant films. And Centurion is just horrible. It's this dreadfully anachronistic movie about Roman soldiers fighting these kinds of Anglo rebels in the British Isles, trying to extend in the 2nd century A.D. the limits of the Roman Empire, and of course all those savage British tribes. They're known as Picts here, Picts as opposed to JPEGs and GIFs. They're just these savage face painting people, and they don't want to be conquered. It's an excuse for lots of people to get run through with swords and say things that nobody in the 2nd century A.D. would ever have said. It is a silly, silly, silly movie with a dreadfully wooden performance by Michael Fassbender, who I normally like a lot. Dominic West, another good actor, is totally wasted. Looks okay. It's didn't cost an awful lot to do. I'm very, very sad, though, because this movie was produced by the wonderful Christian Colson, who I had the pleasure of sitting next to when Slumdog Millionaire won some awards with LAFCA, and he, of course, went on to collect the Best Picture Oscar for Slumdog Millionaire. He is also a producer on 127 Days, the new Danny Boyle film. So this is
You're just dropping names.
I am. But, Christian's a really good guy, and I'm just sorry that he had to get involved in this. Mark, what else we got over there?
Well, we got some stuff here. You're probably wondering, what is Wade doing? He is imitating Bing Crosby. Now, Bing Crosby was if you don't know, was a classic crooner of the 30s right up until his death. I mean, he was famous from the 30s right on down.
Yeah.
And now we've got from TMC the Bing Crosby Collection. This is from the Universal Backlot series. 6 films: College Humor, We're Not Dressing, Here Is My Heart, Mississippi, Sing You Sinners, and Welcome Stranger. Most of these are kind of excuses
none of these would sell individually.
No, and they're really just excuses just to hear Bing Crosby sing. College Humor is only like an hour and 20 minutes long. I mean, they're cute. And, this is back when Bing was young and never really that handsome. But, look, if you love Bing Crosby, there it is. Bing Crosby's been kind of forgotten. But there's the Bing Crosby Collection. On Blu-ray, we have the very interesting Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
I like this movie. I like this movie?
Because
Benny
we
Hill's
love
in
you.
it.
Huh?
Benny Hill's in it.
Benny Hill.
I love Benny Hill.
You're out of your mind. Anyway, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's a big car, flies around. Dick Van Dyke and Lionel Jeffries. And, it's the Blu-ray looks great. They've cleaned it up. It's definitely for the kids. There's a sing-along on the Blu-ray. There's a driving game.
And Benny Hill's in it.
And Benny Hill is in it.
I like Benny Hill.
You're out of your mind. Look, this is an Oscar-nominated movie.
Well,
what can you say?
In what category?
Best original song.
That's
it. What's it going to win? Benny Hill's going to win for Best something?
Best Supporting Actor.
Best Supporting Actor.
He should have been nominated.
Look, the audio is great. It's been upgraded to 7.1. It's a new high-def transfer. It's pretty good looking. And, again, it's for the kids, so it's interactive games. So whatever.
Awesome. Awesome, lovely.
From the Warner Brothers Archive Collection, we have Legend of the Superheroes.
I'm so glad they sent this to us. I love this movie.
Why do you love this movie?
I love it. This puts the exclamation point on the whole Batman television experience. This is like a classic lost television moment.
But look, you realize this thing has a laugh track. It's like Hawkman is like this gigantic red thing, and
I know.
And Flash is.
But it took Burt Ward and Adam West, and it brought all these other superheroes into the picture. It's amazing. This is if you're a fan of the Batman TV series, this is amazing.
Well, what's even funnier is that there's sort of like this roast.
Yeah.
At the end of it, where like Ed McMahon hosts this roast where literally he tells jokes at the expense of Solomon Grundy.
Oh, it's
remember
so
Solomon
awesome.
Grundy?
I do. I still remember this thing. This thing was this is like this bizarre, incredible, weird television anachronism. It's become a completely cult experience. Like I honestly never thought that this would ever wind up on Blu-ray or on DVD, but it is. Now it's from the Archive Collection, which means that it is a DVD-R, which means it's sort of burned to order. You got to go to wbshop.com or warnerarchive.com, either way. But this is just really classic, cool stuff. Between the this is just great stuff. It's just super cool.
What is that?
We got a couple of Blu-rays from DreamWorks here, which DreamWorks has a habit of not getting Blu-rays out to anybody to review until street date, and these have been out for some time. But
That was their first movie.
Yes, it was. The Peacemaker was the very, very first DreamWorks movie with George Clooney and Nicole Kidman. Not a bad film, directed by Mimi Leder, who had never directed a feature. She had basically become legendary for directing these incredibly intense episodes of ER.
But I liked her.
You know what?
Because she also directed the Asteroid movie that I thought was terrific, Deep Impact.
Yes.
For what it is.
I don't know why she isn't doing more features right now. I mean, she really is a talented director. And the thing that I like about The Peacemaker, it is kind of standard issue Cold War or post-Cold War political thriller stuff. You know, there's like missing nuclear weaponry, and they've got to find it. It's sort of like pre-9/11, post-Cold War political thriller fare. Very standard stuff. A lot of real huge contrivances in the plot. But that being said, there is a car. I don't want to call it a car chase. It's not really a chase. It's sort of a car duel scene in this that is really just magnificent. It is great editing. It is really well directed. Very intense, and no CGI anywhere in it. So on that account alone, I'd say that's definitely rental at least. And then the Oscar-winning American Beauty, part of the Sapphire series, is on Blu-ray and looks lovely, although I don't know that you need to upgrade from your very fine DVD if you want to really get the experience of this. This movie works on DVD, it works on Blu-ray, it works in any format at all because it's all about the acting and the writing. That said, sure, the Blu-ray looks terrific, and there's on here, as before, great commentary with Sam Mendes and Alan Ball, director and the writer of the film, and storyboard presentation, a couple of trailers, and a featurette. So it's a very, very nicely produced piece. You know what's not so nicely produced, Mark?
What?
Exterminators with Heather Graham and Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh, poor Heather Graham.
I know. Right?
Jennifer Coolidge was never that attractive, but Heather Graham was.
This is. I don't want to be too cruel. I mean, this thing's gone. This is a straight to DVD, straight to Blu-ray release, and Heather Graham. Gosh, you know, she's kind of been that one-note actress for so long. But anyway. Honestly, in an era when stuff like what was the Betty White thing that recently got released?
What
just for you, listen to you're just you and me.
It was the one with
that
Kristen
horrible
Bell.
thing. Yeah, that horrible thing.
It was horrible.
That's an awful movie.
Yes.
And then the Katherine Heigl thing.
Well, they're all horrible.
They're all horrible. Anything with Katherine Heigl or Kristen Bell, they're all horrible. So why is Heather Graham? Why are they getting into these feature films, and these Heather Graham movies aren't getting released?
Because Heather Graham was big in the early '90s, and she had her moment. I mean, and the thing is that now that Heather Graham is 40. She
doesn't look 40. She still looks like she's 25.
True, but frankly, she's too hot to play the mom.
Yeah, right.
Is what it is.
Well, anyway, this is about a couple of women who meet in a rage therapy group because they have issues with men having broken up with them. Heather Graham and Jennifer Coolidge, who, of course, can be both of them can be very, very, very funny, and it is how they get together and begin kind of a women's revolution quasi terrorist group. It's a vigilante, anti-male vigilantism, and the concept is potentially funny. The execution, not as good as it should be, but you know what? Gosh, it's better than everything else that we just mentioned. When in Rome, for crying out loud. How does When in Rome wind up in theaters and something like this doesn't?
Oh my God, that thing was so bad.
See, not much on here by way of extras. The Blu-ray is roughly, it's acceptably better than the DVD. Neither of them are extraordinary, but gosh, it's perfectly passable. Could have gotten a theater. Would have done way better than When in Rome.
I agree.
Yeah.
Wade, the second in the Millennium trilogy, The Girl Who Played with Fire, is out on Blu-ray. And The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, I enjoyed a lot. By the time we got to The Girl Who Played with Fire...
This was a TV movie.
The last two were TV movies. The first was a theatrical. This one, it's starting to get a little long and chewy and complicated. But basically, Elizabeth Sanders' life really starts to take off once this guy writes this expose about sex workers, and he gets murdered, and then she gets caught up in that. Mm-hmm. And with that, you've got the story about her father, who her father is. We saw in the first film that she threw gasoline and lit a match and burned a guy to death. We assume it's the father. We find out who it is. and it ends with this big cliffhanger. So I like the film. It's nowadays it's hard to fault a film for being too chunky and too complicated and too dense, especially with the Social Network now, a big hit. But I like this film a lot, and it doesn't look as good as the first, only because this one again was done for TV. But it's still good, and I've seen the last one, the girl who kicked the Hornet's Nest.
Yeah, how is it? Better than this, or as good?
The third one is the least. It was my least favorite of the three. And
so it's been a downward line.
Yes, and part of the reason that is because the more you know about Lisbeth, the less interesting she becomes.
That's a good point.
And also, there is this in the middle of the third one. There's a huge courtroom scene, which I've been told in the book was mind-blowingly great, but in the movie, it's a huge courtroom scene. And
I see that every week on Law and Order.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, okay, fine.
Yes.
Michael Imperioli. We know him. We love him. He's a good actor. But he's also a really good filmmaker, believe it or not. Michael Imperioli wrote and directed a film called The Hungry Ghosts with a lot of people that he's worked with previously. Steve Sharippa, who I really like a lot, Ingenue Ellis, Nick Sandow, Emery Cohen. And this is a really good little movie. This is out from Virgil Films. And it reminded me a little bit of, it certainly feels like a gritty, well-executed, but certainly kind of rough around the edges New York indie, which is exactly what it is. But it reminded me a little bit of like Smoke and Blue in the Face.
That's a compliment.
Which is, those are terrific films as well. This is about 5 different people in New York and just the interlocking lives, a little bit of kind of like a Magnolia sort of portmanteau scenario. And it deals with all of the contradictions and the clashes, all of the different divisions that sort of define New York. It's not just a melting pot, but it's really kind of a... these things don't necessarily melt very well. They sometimes really stir each other up. But it's a very well-observed film and clearly comes from a lot of experience on the part of Michael Imperioli. And I am glad to see him do a film like this. He needs to make more. This is a good start, and it should get a lot more attention than it has. So, Michael Imperioli, please, somebody give him more money. Let him make more movies.
Magic, Wade.
Oh, Magic. It's my favorite Olivia Newton-John song.
Exactly.
It is. From Xanadu.
Don't.
It's good.
Don't sing.
Have to believe we are magic. Okay.
I'm done.
Never mind.
1978, actually. I think 1978 is Magic is with Anthony Hopkins. This was sort of before Hopkins had his career revival, And this is directed by Richard Attenborough. It's based on a William
Before
Goldman.
Richard Attenborough made Gandhi.
That's true. And it's based on a William Goldman novel. It's an odd little movie. Hopkins plays a magician who becomes a ventriloquist. And his ventriloquist dummy starts to take over his life.
So in other words, it's basically a feature film adaptation of any number of Twilight Zone episodes. Because there were like 4 Twilight Zone episodes about evil ventriloquist dummies.
And Child's Play. Remember the movie Child's Play?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Get some. Yeah. You love it. Yeah, but this has Burgess Meredith in it.
Who also was in half a dozen Twilight Zone episodes, but none of them with the evil ventriloquist dummy.
That is true. I kind of like this film. Again, William Goldman, who was one of the great screenwriters, and Richard Attenborough, who directed Gandhi, and Jerry Goldsmith did the music. Anthony Hopkins, of course. I don't know. I think it has a great ending. It's pretty suspenseful. It's kind of a forgotten film. And Dark Sky. I'm surprised that Dark Sky Films wound up with this Blu-ray.
Yeah,
because it's a film. People heard of it.
It is an interesting film that really did kind of get lost a little bit. And obviously, Dark Sky and MPI, they figured out that somebody had let it slip through the cracks. So good for them. Good for them. It is. Yeah, it is a good transfer. Still retains all the original film grain, which is very, very nice. It was actually the whole transfer was still supervised by Victor Kemper, who's the original cinematographer, who is still alive. God bless him. Stick around. We also have I'm gonna say it, Mark. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna stand up for a movie that everyone else hated.
Do it, Wade.
I liked. I'm gonna say this. This is my 12-step program. I liked Sex and the City 2. There, I said it. I like Sex and the City 2.
Do you feel better now? You got it off your chest?
I do. I'm a straight man, and I like Sex and the City 2.
Well, you mentioned...
Which, by the way, the first 10 minutes of this movie is probably... is so unbelievably over the top gay that gay men are going to be saying that it was too gay. It's just beyond. I mean, when at the wedding, the gay wedding scene, when Liza shows up and busts out in a big big stomping, high kicking song and dance routine, singing a Beyonce song, you almost, the audience, you could palpably hear groans, and yet I loved it. I thought it was great.
Well, on stupidformovies.com, which is every Thursday
Yes.
at 8 p.m. Pacific time, you did say you liked that, and
I did.
We were amazed.
I'm owning it. I like this movie. It is on, what I have in front of me here is a Blu-ray DVD combo, along with digital copy, of course. And here's the twist. The story here doesn't take place anywhere in New York. The women all kind of up and skedaddle over to Abu Dhabi. And, of course, they couldn't shoot in Abu Dhabi because they couldn't get permission. So the movie was actually shot in Morocco. So there's kind of a cheese factor in the fact that you realize they're going out of their way to not show you Abu Dhabi the way that they would if they actually had shot in Abu Dhabi. That being said, I think there are a lot of interesting things about the sort of the worldwide sisterhood of women and what women have in common, and it takes the characters to a different place, which is, now that they are no longer the women they were on the series and in the first film, they're married, they're moving on, they have children or they want to have children. It's interesting. It takes them in a different direction. A lot of people didn't necessarily like that. I liked it. Very good commentary by Michael Patrick King, who directed it. I mean, a really good commentary. And then a very interesting conversation on here with Sarah Jessica Parker and Michael Patrick King. Great for fans, and I like it. Even the little bit on this little thing on here on Liza. Can't get enough. Can't get enough Liza. I need me more Liza, Mark.
Sigh.
Get me some Liza.
No.
Okay.
However, I will get you some Winnebago Man.
You like this movie.
I did like this movie. Winnebago Man, those who don't know, in the days before YouTube, there were a bunch of these classically bizarre clips that were passed around on VHS. And one of them was this guy, this 50-something bald guy who just melted down into a pool of F-bombs as he was blowing his line starring in a Winnebago infomercial, right? Guy starring in a Winnebago infomercial. It's really hot during the shoot. Flies are everywhere. He's incredibly arrogant, and he keeps blowing his lines. And he just can't stop swearing. So what happens is the crew starts making dubs of this guy's epic fail at doing this Winnebago infomercial, and it became pretty much one of the first viral videos. So he does this, the VHS gets passed around, and then the guy literally disappears. Nobody knows what happened to Jack Rebney. And 20 years later, this documentary filmmaker decides he's going to try to find Jack Rebney and find out what happened to the guy who starred in pretty much the first viral video ever made. So Ben Steinbauer goes on the case, finds the guy, and what happens is, it's funny, what happens is surprising, yet at the same time exactly what you'd expect. And it all makes for a pretty interesting ride. And I enjoyed Winnebago Man. Winnebago Man really is almost a creation myth for the viral video world we now live in, because it wound up being passed around. Look, it was like Rocket Man. Remember when William Shatner's Rocket Man? If you knew somebody...
here's the thing about it. Yeah, that was legendary from the Saturn Awards in 1978.
But if you knew somebody who had like a fifth-generation VHS dub, you drove 20 miles to go to his house to watch it.
That's true.
Now you just go to YouTube and there it is.
Yeah, very true.
So Winnebago Man is just terrific, and the extras here are okay. There's a Winnebago sales video, which is 25 minutes of new footage. There's the New York City premiere where Michael Moore shows up, and I would recommend Winnebago Man. I admit it.
Pretty bitchin'.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll through some interesting but somewhat obscure titles here, just real quickly to let everybody know that they exist. Alex Cox is, Alex Cox, who made Repo Man and a lot of other kind of cult films. The stuff he has done since has sort of vanished into these weird little... His movies kind of fall between the cracks and in between the seat cushions, and you have to work hard to find a lot of them, but if you do, they're still really, really cool. So make every effort to go out and find them. In 2007, he made Searchers 2.0. Absolutely nothing to do with the John Ford film per se, or at least not in the very direct way. But this is actually a really fascinating, intriguing, weird little movie. It is about these two characters, Mel and Fred. Mark likes the name Mel, don't you?
He's funny.
Yeah, Mel. Anyway, it's about two guys who, as children, when they were actors, they were abused by this screenwriter named Fritz Frobisher. I like that name. They all these great names, Fritz Frobisher. Anyway, well, now, many, many, many years later, Fritz is an old man, and he's going to be showing up at a T-shirt signing ceremony. So Mel and Fred make the trek to go and get some kind of payback or revenge, and it becomes really a kind of an interesting road trip, and has all of the eclectic, weird, little fringy, odd, peculiar appendages that Alex Cox's movies always have. It is definitely worth checking out. That's from Microcinema, and it's a fun, nice little. If you've never seen an Alex Cox movie, this wouldn't be a bad place to start. From the Warner Archive collection, again, remember these are DVD-Rs. They are burned DVDs to be ordered if you go to WarnerArchive.com or WBShop.com. We have Pretty Maids All in a Row. This is from a Roger Vadim, who, of course, is the one who discovered Brigitte Bardot and eventually married Jane Fonda, the French director who made mostly crap movies. And this is not particularly good, but it has kind of a cult following, mainly because of its very, very B cast at the time. Rock Hudson, past his prime, Angie Dickinson, Telly Savalas, Roddy McDowall, Keenan Wynn. And you know who wrote and produced this, Mark?
Oh, it was James Cameron.
Nope. Take a guess. This Roger Vadim. This is unbelievable to me because I never realized this. I'd always heard about the film, and it is sort of an exploitation film. I don't want to call it a sexploitation film, but it certainly is kind of a weird black comedy movie with all kind. It's like an 80s sex comedy combined with a murder mystery, with some really bad comedy. Take a wild stab at just guessing who wrote this.
Well, you realize I know who wrote it. Gene Roddenberry.
Yes, but after Star Trek.
Yes.
This is the early 70s.
Isn't that bizarre?
Gene Roddenberry wrote and produced a film directed by Roger Vadim.
That is bizarre.
That's just weird. Just very strange.
Can you imagine Gene Roddenberry and Roger Vadim in a room?
No, I can't.
They come from two different pop culture universes.
Totally different worlds.
Yeah.
It's a novelty. It's not a good film, but it's a weird little novelty. And then we have a couple here from Columbia. Now these are Columbia Pictures films that are released from Sony that are also part of their archive version of what Warner Archive does. These are DVD-Rs. And we have Footsteps in the Fog with Stuart Granger and Gene Simmons. And The Pumpkin Eater with Anne Bancroft, Peter Finch, and James Mason. Mark, do your James Mason for me.
This is James Mason.
There we go.
You are no longer Joe Pendleton.
All right, that's lovely. Anyway, I got to say, The Pumpkin Eater is actually a pretty good film. This is directed by Jack Clayton, who we just talked about, by the way, on our Stupid for Movies horror movie show, because he directed The Innocents, which I think is one of the scariest films ever made. From a screenplay by Harold Pinter, the amazing Harold Pinter, who's one of the great playwrights of all time. Sensational performances from Peter Finch and Anne Bancroft. I'm surprised this is not getting a kind of a major DVD push, at least in some kind of a boxed set of some kind, whether it's an Anne Bancroft box set or, a Jack Clayton box set or something. But anyway, it's a really great melodrama, and definitely check this out. This is from 1964, the era when they made great melodramas. I think Footsteps in the Fog is a little bit less impressive, less melodramatic. But it's, they call this a Victorian noir. I don't know if I'd necessarily go that far, but it is decent, directed by the otherwise negligible director Arthur Lubin. And then we have from this line of Paramount films that are being sublicensed to Olive Films because Paramount sees no possible way to actually make any money off of them, so they're letting Olive do the heavy lifting. And it's their loss, frankly, because Olive is going to do some real business with these. Tropic of Cancer, or otherwise known as Henry Miller's Tropic of Cancer, one of the most scandalous books ever written. If you know anything about Henry Miller, this was made in 1970. It wound up being, I don't know what the original rating on this was. It must have been X, because they've re-rated it NC-17 for the DVD release.
Yeah. And when was this? This was in
1970.
1970. Because this is one of those, when the rating system went down, and when the production code went down, and the rating system was instituted in 1968. This is one of the first films that really said, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, it did. It went there, And the Henry Miller novel was originally published in 1934 and promptly banned. And it's all about Americans living in Paris and doing it every which way that you can possibly imagine. And look, if you've seen Henry and June, you know a little bit about Miller, which ironically, the first film that was ever rated NC-17, Henry and June.
What?
Boy, that Henry Miller, he pushes the envelope. Here's why I recommend this movie. Not because it's a great movie or anything, because director Joseph Strick, who also co-wrote the screenplay, not a great filmmaker by any means, and certainly not a great year necessarily for a lot of movies, 1970, except for Patton. But Ellen Burstyn is sensational in this film. This is like one of those early, really, really good Ellen Burstyn performances. Rip Torn is also in it. He's very good. But it's all about Ellen Burstyn as far as I'm concerned. And then also on the Paramount Olive thing is Summer and Smoke, which is an adaptation of a Tennessee Williams play. Terrific cast here. Lawrence Harvey, Geraldine Page, Rita Moreno, Una Merkel, Pamela Tiffin. The movie's not as good as the cast, but it actually, the performances are very good, and it is better than average. It's a better than average movie for sure. The problem is that the Tennessee Williams piece that it's based on was only a one-act play, so you feel like this is stretching it a little bit, but really good performances here, especially Geraldine Page, and give it a look. It was directed by Peter Glenville, who did Beckett. It's not as good as Beckett by any means, but it's worth a look. Certainly worth a look.
You know what else is worth a look, Wade?
What?
Dark Star.
Oh my gosh!
Now,
again? This has been out on DVD 7 times. This is
Yes.
like The Evil Dead.
Yes, but now we got the super special, the 36-and-a-half-year anniversary edition.
Oh my gosh!
It's called the Hyperdrive edition. Now, Dark Star, for those who don't know, is a cult classic. It is it's kind of a 2001 Space Odyssey ripoff. Now, this DVD contains not only the theatrical version, but here's the thing: the movie was originally 68 minutes. It was directed by, it was actually written by John Carpenter and Dan O'Bannon. Music by John Carpenter. Wade, you know you love the music by John Carpenter.
We argued about this already on Stupid Movies.
It was also directed by John Carpenter. But anyway, so it was originally 68 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the producers said, hey, man, if you can shoot another 15 minutes of footage, I can get this released theatrically. Mm-hmm. So they did. And the DVD here from the good people at VCI includes both versions. And Dark Star is trippy and ridiculous and funny and out of its mind, and it put John Carpenter on the map. And actually, some trivia about the movie, Dan O'Bannon, there's a subplot in the film regarding this alien, and Dan O'Bannon wound up taking that subplot, turning it from comedy to horror, and using that alien character as the basis for his screenplay for Alien.
No, it's interesting. I think I'd heard that.
So Dan O'Bannon went from literally Dark Star to Alien.
No kidding.
Talented guy.
Yeah, he is.
Total Recall.
Didn't he just die or something?
He did.
Yeah, that's sad.
On the other side of the world that I live on is Oliver Stone.
Oh no!
Now Oliver Stone has become just this unbelievably left-wing lunatic crazy man who is aligning himself with some very questionable people. And after doing this documentary called Comandante, where he sat down with Fidel Castro and kissed his butt, now we have a thing called South of the Border, where Oliver Stone goes down to South America and kisses Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez's butt. And I just don't get it.
I don't either.
I really don't. I just, you know what? It's a big, sloppy, wet kiss to not only Chavez, but a whole bunch of these South American leaders, including the guys from Bolivia and Brazil and Argentina. And it seems like he's just backing the wrong horse. Every time he does one of these movies, I just don't get it.
It's because that region was under the thumb of so many right-wing dictators for so long that I guess now he feels like the left-wing dictators are, better than nothing. I don't know. I'm trying to explain it, not justify it. One of the better releases this week, and we're only going to give this a cursory review because we're still waiting on the Blu-ray for this, which is delayed. This is The Complete Metropolis from Kino, the restored version of Fritz Lang's amazing, incredibly influential science fiction film. Just recently, they restored 25 minutes to the film that was discovered. These things are always amazing where they discover these things. They're someone will find like a 16 millimeter dupe of an old silent movie in a basement somewhere. And in Russia, they just found like 30 or 40 something old classic silent films that had all been thought lost. They just keep popping up, these silent films. They're in basements and attics all over the world.
Well, because collectors will they'll pass away and they'll donate it to some film school somewhere.
Like
they'll stick it in a library.
100 years later, we keep popping, these things keep showing up. Anyway, Metropolis was made in the year, of course, when sound came into existence. So it came at a very sophisticated point in the silent era, just as we're about to move to sound, 1927. And the 25 minutes that they restore here, you can tell that it's restored because all this kind of the scratches and the difference in quality is very evident.
Well, they made that they did that purposely,
and it is on purpose. And you can tell there will be sort of a reaction shot that was cut from the previous version, which changes everything. I mean, it's amazing what the 25 minutes does, and I really recommend this. And I'm glad that they didn't change that because it's very instructive from a standpoint of editing to see how the movie changes in terms of its theme and its pacing and your ability to empathize with certain characters. Just what was cut changes so much of that enormously.
Well, it basically creates an entire character from somebody who was just in it a little bit.
That's
in
true.
the original. There's that. Yeah. Remember that very thin, tall guy who read the newspaper on the street. That guy. And I think his character was he followed the main character around and tried.
Yep.
That guy, it turns out, has a backstory and a little plot line of his own that you never saw until you saw The Complete Metropolis.
Well, you get a nearly hour-long documentary here on the making of the film and its restoration, which is excellent. It's called Voyage to Metropolis. It's worth the price of the purchase alone. You get an interview with the curator of the Buenos Aires Museo del Cine, which is where they found the remaining 25 minutes that has been restored. And then you also get the a 5.1 mix of the original score performed anew by the Rundfunk Symphony Orchestra in Berlin. Tremendous, although I'm not going to give this a full recommendation just yet because, again, we are waiting on the Blu-ray, which has been delayed in shipment. I want to see how the Blu-ray compares to the DVD, and then we'll give it, hopefully next week, our full attention. Mark, I think it's time now to announce the winners of the Alien giveaway.
It is, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
We gave away the Alien Blu-ray, the Alien Legacy, the whole darn thing.
That's right.
And let me tell you, this Blu-ray is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Spectacular. Phenomenal.
And, we were talking on Stupid for Movies, Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific time. We were running down our favorite horror, scary films. And, man, I'll tell you, Alien is, if not number one, it's number 1A. I mean, that movie, Alien, is perfect. And you know what? I'm a huge fan of Aliens. I think Aliens is a classic sci-fi action film. I love Aliens 2. After that, the series sort of died, and then the studio really crapped on it by putting it together with the Predator series, and that was just an embarrassment, and the studio should be embarrassed for doing that. Now, of course, they're going back, and Ridley Scott, who may not have it in him anymore, Scott is going back to do an Alien prequel that might star Natalie Portman, where you find out the origin of the space jockey from the original film. So basically we have two classics. Okay, Alien is a super classic. Aliens is a classic, as far as I'm concerned. 3 and 4 are okay.
I am in total agreement, but the set itself is phenomenal.
Oh, God.
It's phenomenal.
Look, the extras on the set were created by our friend Charles de Lauzarica.
Yep.
So the extras are top-notch, and the Blu-rays look amazing, and it's just great. It's great. And you know what? We were thrilled that Fox was able to work with us to get us a couple copies we can give to you guys.
Yep, very true.
Now, Wade has the names of the winners.
Oh, my. Well, I don't have the names of the winners yet. We're going to pick them. You're going to pick 3 numbers.
I
Again,
am?
just like last week. Yep, I've organized everything in random fashion. So you're going to pick 3 numbers. Let's see. Let's see here.
Now, last week, the numbers were my father's, the date of my father's birth. Those were the numbers that I picked. Because we had enough people who had joined that I had all those numbers.
I see.
Now, I don't know how many I can go up to.
Well, a lot of people tried emailing us more than once. But you see, I deleted those duplicates.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know that game. So, Mark, we have pick 3 numbers between 1 and 159.
Well, I'm going to say 7.
Okay, hang on. There's our 7. Yes.
42. Got to count down. You have to count all the way down to 42.
Okay, we've got 42.
And 6.
Oh, you're going to go back to 6. All right.
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll. The winners are Alex Goodman, Brian Hunt, and Pete Dragasakis. Dragasakis. That's an interesting Greek name. I like that.
And you know what? The fact that you probably mispronounced it, he could not be happier because it means you pronounced it because you're telling him he won the set.
It's amazing. Well, anyway, Alex Goodman of Louisville, Kentucky, congratulations. We will get your name and address over to the people at Fox pronto. And then Brian Hunt of Orem, Utah, congratulations. You are going to be getting one, too. And then Pete Dragasakis of the names associated. Pete, everything associated with you is hard to pronounce. Chanhassen, Minnesota, I guess is what it is. Chanhassen?
Oh, who hasn't been there?
Anyway, tough to pronounce. But anyway, all three of you, congratulations. We will be getting your names and addresses off pronto to the people at 20th Century Fox, and you should be getting your Alien Legacy Blu-rays.
Oh, wait, let me tell you something.
In short order.
Let me tell you something.
Tell me something, Mark.
Let's just say that you lived in Chanhassen, Minnesota.
Yes.
You could be right now going to the Chanhassen Dinner Theater. Would you like to know what's playing at the Chanhassen Dinner Theater right now?
Oh, this is why he wants the Blu-ray. I'm scared. What?
Let's see what's playing at the Chanhassen Dinner Theater. All Shook Up, written by Joe DiPietro. I Do. Book and lyrics by Tom Jones. Music by Harvey Schmidt.
Awesome.
Oh, and Steve Ray's comedy cabaret. Improv comedy every Friday and Saturday night with Steve Ray.
Fabulous.
That is at the Chanhassen Dinner Theater.
That's great. All right, Mark, we're gonna roll through some kid stuff and some TV stuff. Get that TV stuff ready while I blow through this kid stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Got a couple of Sesame Street titles here. C is for Cookie Monster and Preschool is Cool, Counting with Elmo. Mark and I have a problem with Elmo. We think that he's creepy.
We do?
Don't you have a problem with Elmo? I thought we had a problem with Elmo. I thought we agreed on that.
Yeah. We had a meeting on this and we agreed.
Yeah, okay. Elmo creeps me out. The voice creeps me out. Elmo was not part of Sesame Street when I was a kid, so I really have no affinity for him. But Cookie Monster, we all love the Cookie Monster. I just don't like how they're trying to make him health-oriented now. He eats cookies, folks, and his eyeballs roll around, and that's all there is to it. He's a Cookie Monster. It's not leaving any a bad impression with kids. So those are fine. I'm quite enamored of a lot of the old classic Hanna-Barbera stuff that they're now releasing sort of as part of the Warner Archive collection. And one of these is Thundar the Barbarian.
Yeah, I remember Thundar.
You remember Thundar?
I do, I really do.
With 2 R's?
Yep.
Yeah, Thundar the Barbarian. One of the cooler Hanna-Barbera films from the kind of latter part of the Hanna-Barbera era. This is the complete series on 4 discs. Definitely go to WB Shop and look for this one. Thundar the Barbarian was a really, really cool show. Better than, for my money, better than Conan. If we have to pit one barbarian against another, I definitely like Thundar because it has more of a kind of a, it's almost more of a kind of a groovy sci-fi post-apocalyptic quality to it, and I enjoyed that more. Also has a Princess Ariel who had nothing to do with the Princess Ariel in The Little Mermaid. I find that interesting too. But this was a really cool show, and it is nice to rediscover it on DVD. So WB Shop, check that out. I don't know if this is necessarily for kids. It's on Comedy Central. It's animated. Maybe it's for some kind of kids. Ugly Americans this probably should be like, this is more like Adult Swim type stuff, but this is a new show on Comedy Central, and it's got a wicked edge to it. Not gonna get too much into it, but it's got an audio commentary on it and some webisodes and art galleries, and this is a new kind of animation that might creep you out a little bit, or in a good way. Wolverine and the X-Men, the complete series, all 26 episodes on 3 Blu-rays. Actually, in many respects, I like this just as much as the X-Men movies. This is kind of growing on me. I didn't like them originally, but watching them on Blu-ray a little bit, you really start to appreciate the animation, and the kind of the spirit of Marvel Comics bleeds through a lot more on here. So they've done a very, very good job on this show, and a lot of really cool episodes. They all look great on Blu-ray. Audio commentaries on all of them, and top notch. Some even have a couple of audio commentaries. Mark, got some more TV for us?
If you like.
Yeah, let's fire with it. I got a couple other kid things here, but I see some stuff there that I know we need to get into before the show ends.
Well, we got 2 fifth season DVD sets from the good folks at Shout Factory. We have Mad About You with Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt. This show kind of got forgotten. This show is not really all that beloved. But it's funny because Sony released the first couple seasons, and it was like 3 or 4 years between releases of seasons 2 and 3. But now Shout Factory picked this thing up. They acquired the rights, and they're on season 5. And there's no extras, so they've really done nothing with this. So that's 4 discs, and that's for you, Mad About You fans. Facts of Life season 5.
I saw this show taped.
Oh my god!
I actually was in the studio audience once for this show. It was great.
Well, season 5 is a groundbreaking.
Why?
Because this is the season where
Joe breaks up with her boyfriend, and then and Blair has a scheme.
Exactly. This is the season where Mrs. Garrett leaves.
Yes.
She leaves to start. She leaves to start some sort of a bakery or something.
She couldn't take any more of Tootie either.
None of us could take any more of Tootie.
Yeah.
And, look, this is a big NBC show back in the 80s, and about a bunch of girls who live in a sorority, and I just don't get it. It's just not good. Although I did think that the brunette was cute. I don't know why I thought that, because she ain't cute now.
Okay. Well, it's the facts of life. And I would sing the song, but I don't want to chase our listeners away.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Deadliest Catch, Season 6. These guys are crazy.
They're out of their minds.
They're fishermen, and they go to the Bering Sea, and they go to all sorts of crazy places, and they catch crab, and it's very dangerous. What? They don't catch crabs.
Oh,
they catch
I'm sorry.
crab.
Sorry, I misheard you.
40 foot. There's like huge waves and winds and big machinery, and they never sleep because it's so dangerous, and it's actually a crazy show. 4 discs, whole bunch of extras too, including some behind the scenes stuff. And this show is look. The one thing about these Discovery shows, you got to admit, is that they take you to places you would never go otherwise.
Very true.
And the thing is that, look, if you're working that job, catching crab in the wilds of the Bering Sea, whatever, that's one thing. But imagine being on the show. It's like you could either be in the warm air. You could be either in the air-conditioned confines of a studio in Hollywood, or you can go to the Bering Sea and watch a bunch of guys catch crabs.
Horrible.
Wait, am I going? Am I still going?
You're still going. We got a few more seconds.
Al Pacino, you don't know Jack. This won a couple of Emmy Awards. This is Al Pacino as Jack Kevorkian. And Barry Levinson directed, and Barry Levinson did something absolutely amazing, which is he got Al Pacino to calm down. Just a little bit.
Ever so slightly.
Exactly. It's great casting, and Pacino does have a history with HBO because he starred in Angels in America. And this film is just terrific. It's something that would never get theatrical distribution, but it's a great story. And HBO does that kind of stuff. They sort of fill that niche, and I liked it a lot.
I'm going to put a plug in, a very kind of with reservations for the Essential Bugs Bunny. This is a Looney Tunes 20 short collection on 2 discs. I got to say, I'm a little annoyed by the way that they're doing this scatter shot. You know, they've been doing the Looney Tunes Golden Collection on DVD before, and I think Warner Brothers needs to keep going comprehensive, complete, not just kind of putting these, 20 great shorts on a 2-disc set, because this isn't comprehensive, and some of the best stuff is not here, but it sort of is like the history of Bugs Bunny in brief. It's okay. It's fine. I mean, there's great stuff here, but eventually you're going to want all of them. Really, everyone's going to want every Bugs Bunny cartoon ever. And I'd say hold off, wait for some kind of a comprehensive box set, or just start buying those Golden Collection volumes and put those together, because that's where you're really going to get the best stuff. And then lastly, He's Your Dog, Charlie Brown, the remastered deluxe edition. They've been doing this with all of the Peanuts stuff pretty steadily, doing remastered deluxe editions of all of them. He's Your Dog, Charlie Brown is not necessarily the best one of all time. This also includes Life is a Circus, Charlie Brown. But if you're a completist, definitely step up and get it. But I'm waiting for all the Blu-rays. With that, we are done. Email us at gods@digigods.com or check us out at Stupid for Movies Thursdays at 8 o'clock, stupidformovies.com. Till then, we're gone.